Hello everyone, this is Jack Carey at the paranormalintelligenceagency.com. Today's briefing, I have an amazing find for you that very few of you have probably heard of. This find comes from Nazca, Peru, and many of you will be familiar with the mysteries at Nazca, with the many lines that have been etched into the sand by a very mysterious culture that we know almost nothing about. This find was discovered by a tomb raider. His name is only known as Mario at this time. This tomb raider, who has extensive connections in Cusco, Peru, discovered a tomb that had very, very strange mummies in them. 3 of these mummies had very reptilian-like characteristics to them. As you will see, these mummies are very small. They are all virtually identical, except for one of them appears to be female. They were studied by a world-class team of scientists, and those scientists ran a number of tests on them. This is one of the tests to show the underlying structure below the white powder, which is known as diatomaceous earth. This is a full picture of one of the creatures. You can see the elongated skull. The ribcage area is very strange and does not appear human in any way. The hands only have 3 fingers, and it's very interesting because, as you will see, a petroglyph was discovered in the area that seems to match these creatures. Here is yet another picture. These mummies were covered in diatomaceous earth, which is a substance that comes from seashells that is crushed over millions of years into a fine dust. It has an amazing ability to preserve, and with the very arid conditions at Nazca, these mummies happened naturally. So the internal organs, like normally happens in mummification, were not removed. They remain intact, but because of the arid conditions and the diatomaceous earth, they were still completely and perfectly mummified. This is a picture of the 3 individuals that were brought forth for inspection by the tomb raider known as Mario. He approached a man named Terry Jarman at an archaeological institute in Cusco, Peru, to see if what he had found was in fact what he thought he had found. And it was from there that attention was given to these bodies. That was noticed by a famous and respected journalist from Mexico named Jaime Maussan. He got involved, and a team from Gaia also accompanied him to go and see these bodies for themselves. The team of scientists also were there, and as you can see them here, they are inspecting the bodies. This is a picture of one of them from the foot area. You can see that there are 3 digits also on the foot of the creature. This is the female that was discovered. When she was x-rayed, it was discovered that there were 3 eggs in her abdomen. This meant that she was gestating at the time, and that she apparently, or these creatures apparently, have a reptilian-like reproductive function. The eggs still remain intact in the body because the owner, Mario, refused to have them removed because he thought it would lower the value of the bodies. Now, this female also had what appeared to be a surgery done at some point in her life. There was a steel or some type of metal bar that was placed on the upper chest area. We don't know what the function of it was, but it apparently was put there at some point in the creature's life. A lot of the x-rays that were done at Colorado University. This is some of those x-rays. They were done by a very respected radiologist. I'm going to bring up some pictures of what diatomaceous earth looks like here. There it is. You can see this white fine powder. It's made up of tiny, tiny little crystals. That's what allowed these bodies to stay fully intact for as long as they have. Now, this is another species. It's amazing, but two different species were found in the same tomb. This is clearly different than the three smaller beings. The scientists named this one Maria. There is also a baby that matches her genetic makeup. This is them doing extensive testing on one of the smaller creatures. You can tell that the testing was extremely extensive. Now this is Maria, and you can see on her feet she also has 3 digits, and on the hand 3 digits. However, the rest of her does not match the anatomy of the 3 smaller beings. She does have an elongated skull, and as was common in ancient civilizations, her head was tilted towards the sky. So what we have is a find with two different species, and it's amazing because the man who discovered these estimated that maybe only 10% of the tomb had been excavated. He will not tell people where the main cave is. He has told the team of scientists where one of the caves was, where he recovered a few of the bodies. This is images of Maria. And here is the radiologist at Colorado University studying the bodies. There were many highly respected scientists who took a look at these. Now, there is a reason why it hasn't been widely discussed in the public, and I will get to that at the end here. So you can see her surprise when she's describing that that the anatomy was so complex that simply could not be a hoax of any kind. She is on camera interview, basically saying it is exactly what we all thought that it was. So this is her studying those images. And you're going to get a side view here of Maria, and you can see the bone structure all through her, verifying that she was in fact a living biological creature. They began to do DNA testing on them. This was done at a respected institute in Russia who does DNA testing. Here is a building of that institute. And here is the child that was discovered. They named the baby Wawita. It has the exact same elongation of the skull. It has the same build of anatomy as Maria. Whether or not it's her offspring, it's impossible to tell. You can see how large the orbital cavities are. And this is the team of scientists examining the smaller one. Now, when they did the DNA testing on these beings, they discovered something amazing. And I've included the actual documents from those tests that were done in Cusco, Peru. True, they are in Spanish, but I wanted you to see them anyway so that you can see how authentic all of this actually is. In the DNA testing that they did, which is the most shocking part of all of this, is that in the species of Maria and Wawita, only 25% of the DNA matched anything close to modern human DNA. It wasn't exactly modern human DNA, but it was very close to human DNA. The other 75% was completely unknown and did not match any known plant or animal life on Earth. They then conducted testing on the smaller beings. This is them taking samples. They did the DNA testing on it, and amazingly, it turned out to be the same. 25% of it appeared kind of like modern human DNA. There were 75% which did not match anything. They do know that the smaller beings date back about 1800 BC, and the smaller ones appear to have been around in 800 AD. This is the test on that. And you're going to see the actual DNA sequences coming up here in just a moment. The scientist who did most of the DNA testing is a respected scientist in Russia. I included all of the papers of the testing here because I wanted people to see how extensive the testing was and how scientific, and that this was in fact done by world-class scientists who had very, very extensive credentials. This all comes from their report, which you may or may not be able to find online. Some of it will be in Russian and some Spanish, so it may not help you much. So what's very interesting about this find, more than, obviously than the find itself, is its relationship to Nazca and the fact that it was found around Nazca, where many researchers believe that there has been an alien presence in the past, and that it actually interacted with the culture that created the Nazca lines. The Nazca lines are amazing, and they hold a mystery that I'll get to in a moment. Here's a picture of the cave that Mario brought the team to. This was the cave, he says, where he obtained the 3 small bodies. And he claims that another part of the tomb complex actually had structures. He described it as a citadel-like structure. And he has not taken anyone there. This petroglyph was discovered not far from where the bodies were. And here you can see the creature with 3 fingers. I've highlighted the petroglyph so that you can clearly see it. The 3-fingered creature is depicted right there. So this is a huge find in the paranormal world, and many people have not heard about it because the Ministry of Culture of Peru put a complete clampdown on any and all research. They would not look at it, they would not endorse it, and the head archaeologist in public hearings completely dismissed everything and said that it was all a hoax, and that was it from the Peruvian government. Without that, the U.S. news stations and around the world, without the approval or the nod from the Peruvian government, wrote it off as a hoax. When you take the Nazca lines and you plot all of them around the globe, they end up in Angkor Wat, Cambodia. Think about that. This is Jack. I will see you guys next time with yet another amazing video of paranormal research. Like, subscribe, and share. Appreciate it.